Hey guys, happy Monday afternoon. How are you doing? I would love to know. How are you? Let me know. What has been coming up for you lately? Let us have a dialogue of sorts. Comment on this video or send me a private message and let me know. What are the things that you've been struggling with? So on Friday, we had our second Zoom group support session. So 2 weeks ago we had the first one, and on Friday we had the second one, and it was so nice because it's only on offer to people in this group, and it gave them a chance to kind of meet face to face and to share like what are the things they've been struggling with and what are the things that have been supporting them. So in our first week that's what we focused on, and then in our second week on Friday we looked at what are the things that you want to bring through from the last few weeks into the next few weeks, and what do you want to add to that. And it was really cool because there was kind of this overall focus of people looking outwards and going, well, what can I do to kind of help other people? And it's so funny because you just get this random group of people coming together, and yet there's this like common thread, golden thread that runs between each of us. So really cool experience. So if you want to come be part of that, I'm doing it again on this Friday at 1 o'clock South African time. So I haven't set up the event in our group yet, but I'll do that after this. And then you can click the link and you can register to come and join us on Friday, and it's free, so why not? Cool. So I just wanted to remind you guys of that, and then I'll get on to the thing I want to talk about today, which is my first panic attack since lockdown started. So I am not prone to panic attacks. It's not something I've ever really dealt with, but in the last year there's been this like inner anxiety and rage that has kind of come out to the surface, and it's been triggered by like lots of little like external things that have been happening. Yay, thanks for the heart. Oh yeah, if you guys are with me, let me know, say hi, and then I know who's out there. So yeah, I've had all these emotions kind of coming up to the surface that I don't normally deal with. And so it's been quite a process this last year, kind of getting that, and not under control, but, you know, getting my shit together, basically, so that I can continue to show up. Oh, hi Shnaz, how are you? So that I can continue to show up as a coach and be effective for my clients. So since lockdown started, I've been making this concerted effort to be okay emotionally. And I must say, I genuinely felt like I was. I've had moments where I felt a bit out of control and that kind of thing. But I find that through showing up in this group every day, twice a day live, it's really helped ground me, and it's really helped me feel like I'm in a space where I'm like, okay, it's all good. I have my routine, I'm helping people, I'm sharing stuff, I'm learning as I do that. So this is really beneficial. I'm actually doing okay. And then the last few days happened. And this is the thing, right? When I share with you what it is that led up to this happened on Saturday, it won't make any sense. But if you are someone who suffers from anxiety, you'll get it. You'll totally get it. So it began last week. I was putting the finishing touches on... Sorry, I'm just going to read comments as I go here. Shanaz, I can relate to this so much. I haven't been showing up though, so you're so strong. Oh, thank you. That's really kind of you to say. Yeah, but you know what? Like, there's two different parts of our nervous system when we're in that kind of trauma response, which is what a lot of us are going through at the moment. There's the fight or flight, where you're like poised to take action to like fight the stress, the thing that's causing you stress, or to run away from it. And then there's the freeze part. And the freeze part is where you're unable to take any action, where you're just paralyzed and stuck, and it's as if your body's shutting down. And so it sounds like perhaps that's, you know, maybe an aspect of that has been playing out for you, and I know it has for many other people as well. So there's no shame in that whatsoever. So what happened? So last week I was putting the finishing touches on my content for my Mindset membership, and our theme for May is processing emotions, because I knew like there's a lot of emotions coming up at the moment and I want to help people process them. So I'd been putting quite a lot of effort into researching and that kind of thing, and I've been watching lots of videos by different self-help gurus to kind of see like what are they advocating, what should you do in the moment, that type of thing, and then putting my own spin on it and creating the content. So I feel like on some level that kind of brought some stuff up to the surface, or like triggered me a little bit subconsciously. And then on Friday night we started watching a series called Hunters. It's about a group of people that hunt down Nazis in the 1970s, but it's really strange. It's almost like a mix of Inglourious Bastards and Schindler's List. Like, it's very bizarre. Like, it's almost comedic. Like, it's meant to be quite funny, but obviously tragic at the same time, and also quite violent. So it's a really weird, I mean, it's a very good series. I thought it was very good, but quite a mixed bag. And anyway, the opening scene is hectic, very hectic, and it took me by surprise. And I noticed in myself, after watching that opening scene, this ball of tension that appeared in my stomach, and it didn't go away. And I remember voicing to Garth, probably on like episode 2 or something, I was like, wow, I can really feel like anxiety in my body right now. I was very aware of it. And he's like, you know, what do you think that's about? And I said, I don't know. Like, I mean, my heritage is Jewish. Maybe there's a unconscious part of me that is triggered emotionally by this kind of stuff. It's not something I've experienced, but like my ancestors experienced it. So maybe on some level, I'm having like a weird trauma response to this. It's so strange. I don't know. Or maybe it was quite graphic and took me by surprise. And I'm a bit more sensitive to that type of stuff now, after doing like quite a lot of spiritual work. So I don't know. But anyway, I could feel this anxiety inside me. And then on Saturday it all fell apart. So I was making breakfast and the yolk broke on my egg. And then Hamlet was barking incessantly outside. So whilst trying to get him to come in, and he's deaf so he can't hear me call him, I have to like physically go outside and bring him in, I missed a phone call. And then I sat down and I could feel it building. This, oh yeah, you're right, past life stuff, absolutely. Yeah, agreed. And I could feel this like, almost like a rage building up inside me. Like, it started off as just a bit of irritation, like, oh man, I broke the yolk, you know, whatever. And then it built up, and now I'm trying to get the dog in and he's not hearing me, so I gotta go get him in. And then I missed a phone call, but I didn't want to call back because I was just about to eat breakfast. And then as I sat down, we were going to put something on to watch, and it was the show. And then Garth like threw the remote control at me and I didn't catch it, and it changed the channel, and then it was this whole palaver to bring it back. And I remember it felt as if I was walking towards the edge of a cliff, and I could see I was going to go over. And it was so weird, because on one level, physically, I could feel that ball of anxiety that was in my stomach. I could feel it coming up, and it was about to spill out. On another level, I was irritated. I was cross. I was like so mad at these stupid things that happened, but this like rage built up. And then on a third level, a meta perspective, I was like watching myself and going, you're about to lose it, and it's so unnecessary, but you're about to lose it. Like, you're about to have a panic attack type of thing. But it didn't look like a panic attack. I wasn't standing and hyperventilating. What happened is I went into what I call a rage blackout, where I just started yelling, and I was like, what the, I'm not going to repeat what I said, but I was just, raging, and Garth was like, what just happened? Totally taken by surprise. And of course, he doesn't respond well to people yelling. It's a trigger for him. So again, on this meta perspective, like this me witnessing myself behaving this way, I'm fully aware that he's going to start getting defensive. So I'm like trying to manage how he feels about it whilst trying to manage what's happening to me, and at the same time just like So what happened? So I jumped up, I put my plate down in the kitchen, and I started stomping around the house. And he's like, stop yelling. And I'm like, I'm not yelling at you. I'm having a bit of a panic attack. Like, I'm trying to explain what's happening, but it's busy happening. So I was like, what do I do? And then that voice inside my head was like, you literally just wrote about this. Like, you literally just wrote about this. Use your tools. And then he sarcastically was like, can't you go tap or something? Like, go do some tapping or meditation or something. And I think he was actually trying to help, but it came across to me as sarcastically. And then it made me feel quite self-conscious in a way of like, yes, I have these tools to use, but I almost feel embarrassed to use them because I shouldn't need to, because I'm a life coach and I teach people how to use these tools. I shouldn't need them myself, which is so not true, as demonstrated by what happened. But you know what I mean? There's like this inner chatter that goes on, and this shame that comes from acting out in this way. Yeah, so it was just this mess of emotion and craziness. But it's not like, when you look at what emotion is, it's a physiological response in your body. Emotion is your nervous system like firing and taking you into that fight or flight space. So a lot of stuff happens in your body when you are taken into that place, and so that's what was happening for me. And so when I felt like I went over the edge of that cliff and I was now like acting out totally, it's very hard to pull yourself back. So what I did do, what really helped, is I breathed. So I was literally, I came into my office area and I was breathing. I was taking deep belly breaths because I knew like this is going to help me calm down. And it was almost like looking at it from like a cognitive place, from like a psychological perspective. And I was going, if you do some deep belly breaths now, you're going to be able to get out of this. Your body's going to respond to that. So I did. So I was taking these deep breaths. The other thing I did is I removed myself from where this was all playing out. So I knew that Garth was going to be getting defensive about it because he doesn't like being yelled at. And I wasn't yelling at him, I was just yelling. But if that's one of your triggers, you're not going to feel safe when somebody near you is yelling. And also, why should you have to deal with that? It's not a nice thing to deal with. So I removed myself from the situation by leaving the room. I came to the other room. And then what I did is I moved my body. So I literally paced up and down whilst doing these deep belly breaths. And I feel like the movement was really good for me somehow because it got me back into my body. The fourth thing I did, which was really helpful, is I fully accepted how I was feeling. So after this all played out, once I could feel I'd calmed down enough, I went back outside to where Garth was now sitting outside furiously smoking from stress. I went outside, and the first thing I did is I apologized to him for acting out that way. Because people act out where they yell and they shout and they scream, or they act in, where they internalize all of this stuff. Sometimes I act in, but sometimes I act out. So the first thing I did is I went to him and I apologized, and I said, I'm sorry I was yelling. I wasn't yelling at you. I was just yelling. And I tried to explain to him this felt like a panic attack for me. This was a rage blackout. This was not like me just having a temper tantrum. It's more than that. I was physically felt unable to get control of how I was feeling and how my body was responding to how I was feeling. So I was trying to explain this to him, but I was still kind of on the tail end of it. So it was quite hard to fully express. But I made sure, it was almost like ego kind of left, and I came back into myself from the breathing and the moving, and I was able to first just apologize so that he didn't carry on, which might have triggered me to carry on, if that makes sense. So I apologized, and then he said, that's fine, I understand, I'm sorry you're going through that, what must I do differently next time? And I said, I really don't know, but I'll get back to you on that. And he was like, cool, I'm going to go to the shops because I just need a breath of fresh air. I'm like, no problem. So he left. And while he was gone, I sat and I thought about it, and I was like, what do I need differently next time? What will help me not go over the edge? And I realized, especially like when you're by yourself, it's different because you're the only one who's got to cope with the fallout of what's about to happen. But when you're with somebody else, you have to consider what's going on for them at the same time. So I thought what I could do is I could communicate with him and say, I'm about to head into, because I knew I could feel it coming. I could feel like it started with that ball of tension the night before, and it escalated into that moment where I just lost the plot. And I could feel it coming. And even like with the TV remote, like that was the final straw type of thing that just sent me over the edge. Even as that was happening and he made a remark about it, I was thinking in my head, you're about to lose the plot. Like, tell him. This is not just a temper tantrum. This is like a panic attack. So I thought, well, the next time what I would do is I would communicate with him and I would say, I'm heading towards the edge here. I need to go get myself under control. And I would get up then and remove myself and go do whatever I need to do. But by that point, I'd already kind of lost it. And so I felt self-conscious to now start like, let me go tapping, you know, or whatever it is. It was almost too far gone. So I think next time, if I catch myself heading that way, it would be to do something about it then, before it's too late. So perhaps that's useful to you. Let me know. How do you experience these moments? How do you experience it leading up to it? How do you experience it in the moment? And how do you experience it after? Because there's a lot of shame that comes afterwards when you're like, I can't believe I behaved that way. Or I can't believe I lost control that way. And if somebody else were doing it, I would have nothing but compassion for them. But because I was doing it, there's shame that comes from that. And so I was very consciously trying to accept what had happened without judgment. And that was damn difficult. Really difficult. And, oh, that's right. So I apologized to Garth for yelling and causing him distress, but I didn't apologize for how I was feeling or the fact that it had happened, if that makes sense. So I tried to practice radical acceptance of this is what happened now. So afterwards, it felt very raw, and and this all happened about an hour before I was due to do a dance class with some family friends, and my sister and my mom was there as well. And it was the last thing in the world that I felt like doing was a Zoom dance class where I knew like we'd done it the week before and we'd laughed and we'd had fun, and I was like, I don't want to laugh and have fun now. All I want to do is sit and cry because I feel terrible about what just happened. And Garth said, are you going to do the class? And I was like, you know what, I am, because even though I'm feeling very raw right now and vulnerable, it's a safe place. It's people I love and I trust. Getting emotional. And I can say to them, I'm feeling raw right now and I'm just going to dance it out, you know? And that's basically exactly what I did. And in fact, I didn't end up saying that at the beginning of the class. We just kind of went straight into the class, and it naturally moved me from a state of to being able to actually laugh and just relax again. So honestly, like getting back into your body, breathing and getting back into your body are like those are the things I really advocate you do, because it really helped me. And then at the end of the class, we chatted and we all caught up, because I mean, they're like, we call them the others. They're literally like family. And so we caught up, and then I said to them like, oh yeah, this is what happened. This class was really helpful. And then, you know, they showed support and talked about their own struggles with anxiety and that kind of thing. And it helps you realize that you're not alone and other people go through this too. And today I joined a group of coaches on a Zoom call. And it's just meant to be the same sort of thing like what I'm offering on Friday, where we do a Zoom support group. But this one is specifically for coaches. And I knew a few of the people and others were new to me. And I kind of touched on this without going into detail, but I touched on what had happened. And I just said, you know, basically I'd thought I was fine, and then I had an explosion and realized I wasn't. And they all empathized, and they were like, we've experienced the same thing. We're also up and down. We're also having these moments of being extremely triggered, and it's difficult because we're the coaches. We're meant to be holding it all together. And actually we're people first. And that means we can also fall apart, and we can be there for people. So it was really helpful to hear other people's experiences and to realize I am totally normal. that's why I really wanted to share this with you today, to say that whatever you are going through right now, whether it is grief about all the things that you're missing out on doing because of the situation, or whether it is anger because this is just out of our control and that flipping sucks, or whether, it's panic and fear and anxiety, like whatever is going on for you right now is so okay. It's so okay. We are human beings and we are hardwired to respond to stress. It's what our body does. And this is a stressful situation. And it's stressful on so many different levels. So if you find yourself responding to any of those levels, that's okay. All right? I just want you to know that. It's affecting me. It's affecting, I'm sure, some if not all of you too. So the last thing I want to touch on is, how do you support yourself going forward? So on Sunday, I spent pretty much the entire day in bed, just catching up on some new episodes that had come out in series that I watch. And in between those moments of watching, the series, I felt like a resolution come over me of, I have to start using the tools that I am teaching on a daily basis. Since we've been allowed to exercise in South Africa, so up until Friday morning, we weren't allowed to leave our house to exercise. And from Friday onwards, we've been allowed this very small period of time between 6 a.m. and 9 a.m. where we can go for a walk. And so I've been doing that on Friday morning, Saturday morning, Sunday morning. This morning, I've gotten up and I've gone for a stroll and I've taken my dog out. And I really resolved to myself on Sunday that I'm going to make a point of doing that. And not I'll take the dog out as well, but he can't handle much. So I'll, take him out for 5 or 10 minutes, and then I need to go for a walk with just me. And if I move to do a bit of jogging, then I'll do a bit of jogging. But basically, it's good for me to get into my body and to feel myself breathing hard and my heart pumping and to feel alive. And it really helps. It helps because all the hormones, the stress hormones that our bodies are producing right now, they're sitting in our systems and they're not being processed because we are sitting still. And the thing that helps that stuff process is movement. It really helps. So I'm committed to myself. I'm going to go out and I'm going to walk every damn day if I can. But if not, close to every damn day, I'm going to go move. And I'm also going to start doing these body connecting tools. What's the word I'm looking for? Embodiment tools that really help. So after this at 5 o'clock, I'm joining in on a TRE class, which it's TRE, it's an acronym. It stands for Trauma Release Exercises, also known as tremoring. And basically what you do is you it's so weird, you hold your legs on this way and they start shaking involuntarily. And what it does is it's meant to release all those stored stress hormones and that are sitting in your nervous system. So it's meant to help activate your parasympathetic nervous system, which is the one that gets you into rest and digest. And I've been doing it on and off for a few months now, I think since November, but I haven't done it consistently. And so this morning, the person who runs this class that happens once a week messaged to say, "Are you coming to the class tonight?" And I was like, I don't feel like it. I really don't feel like it. All I want to do now is finish off my newsletter, which is going out today, and then I want to climb into bed. That's what I want to do. But I thought, you know what? You've got stuff happening in your body. Go deal with it. So I'm doing the class at 5 o'clock. So I'm also trying to watch my caffeine intake because I've been drinking a lot of coffee and I don't think that's helping. So I know I have a client who said she's had to pretty much cut out caffeine completely because it really triggers her anxiety. And I remembered that and I was like, oh, well maybe all the caffeine I'm drinking is not doing me any favors. So I've cut down to 1 cup in the morning, and after that I drink decaf because I enjoy the taste, but I don't actually need the stimulation. And trying to drink more water. In fact, let me have a sip. So yeah, basically that's what happened. That's how I dealt with it, and I'm still dealing with it. And the anxiety comes up, at the beginning of the Zoom session this morning with those other coaches, even just naming it out loud brought that ball of tension back to my stomach. And I was sitting there, and I mean, to see me on the screen, I was like, but inside, I was like, I almost feel like I'm having a mini panic attack again. Like, it was the weirdest feeling. And by the end of the session, that feeling had gone again. And then now, I was starting to write about this experience to go in my weekly newsletter, and it again brought that ball of tension back to my stomach. So just before coming on live now, I knew I was going to talk about it. I felt that come up again, and I went to Garth and I was like, "Can you just give me a hug, please? I just need to be like contained for a moment." So he was lying on the bed, so like literally just held me for a little bit, and I was like, "Okay, cool, I can go talk." So it's an ongoing practice. You've got to deal with it in the moment, and then you also got to support yourself after the fact. So be kind, be compassionate, be patient with yourself. Do the physical stuff, the embodiment stuff that's going to help you process, and practice some self-care. Like, look at your routine and the stuff you're putting in your body, and the thoughts you're thinking, and just be kind. Okay. Be kind. Practice whatever kind of self-care you can. There are so many self-care resources in this group if you're not really sure where to start. I did a free challenge in this group in February, was it? And I looked at self-care from the point of physical self-care, emotional self-care, mental self-care, and spiritual self-care. And there are so many resources and so much information. You can go back in this group and you can find it. Under topics, you'll see group challenge, and I think that's where the videos are, and then you'll also see self-care resources with some more stuff. So yeah, go check it out if that's going to be helpful to you. Hope. Understanding needing movement. I recently wrote about moving more. It definitely helps with anxiety. Coffee was doing the same thing to me. Yeah, absolutely. And look, I mean, you're a trainer, so you understand like how important movement is. Really makes all the difference. Thanks, Pam. So yeah, it was an interesting couple days, and I still feel like I'm recovering, but I'm doing what I can to support myself, and that's okay. So, gonna finish off now because I don't even know how long I've been on for. I've got a phone call coming through now about maybe appearing on someone's blog, so that'll be pretty cool. Deep breaths, deep breaths. Gonna go do my shaky tremoring thing at 5, and hopefully that'll help process this ball that's sitting in my stomach off and on. And yeah, and if I think of more stuff that I think will be useful to you guys, I will be sharing that in these afternoon sessions. So yeah, and if you've got specific questions or specific challenges that you face and you want to share them with me, then I will pick those up in these afternoon sessions and talk about them if it's something I know about. And if it's something I don't know about, I'll go do some research and I'll come back to you. So use me. I'm here to help in whatever way is useful. Cool. Well, thank you so much. Thanks Hope and Pam and Shanaz and anyone else who's out there. I really appreciate the love and support and you witnessing me sharing my experience. It's really helpful. So yeah, if you'd like the same type of thing, come join us on Friday in the Zoom session where that's basically what happens, is we just witness each other's journeys through this weird moment of history. So come join us. I'll share the link for the event in the group soon. Got a phone call happening now, but after that I will do it. Cool. Thanks for the love heart, and I'm sending you guys love, and I will chat to you soon. You're welcome, Hope. Cheers guys. Bye.